Hello beautiful people, I'm Nicole and welcome back to my channel. Have you ever heard someone say Irish goodbye or Dutch treat and wondered what on earth they were talking about and what they meant? Well, English has a lot of idioms that are connected to nationalities and cultures. And in today's video, we're going to go through some of the most common ones and understand what they mean and how to use them. Let's get started. Dutch treat. This is a social outing where everyone pays for themselves. No one is covering the bill for everyone. Everyone needs to pay for their own food and drinks. An example could be, don't forget your wallet tonight because it's a Dutch treat. And we went out for dinner last night, but it was a Dutch treat. French leave. This is leaving without saying goodbye. For example, after the party, he took a French leave, and I'm so tired, I might just do a French leave. Chinese whispers. This is information that changes as it passes from person to person. For example, the office gossip turned into Chinese whispers, but please keep in mind that this could be considered culturally insensitive today. So some people prefer to use the alternative telephone game. Indian summer. This is a warm, pleasant period during autumn. For example, we're going to go swimming this afternoon because we're having an Indian summer, or we are having an Indian summer this year. Irish goodbye. This is very similar to French leave, but Irish goodbye is quietly leaving without saying goodbye. For example, I took an Irish leave after the wedding, and Irish leave is sometimes easier than long farewells. Mexican standoff. This is a situation where nobody can safely act or win. For example, the negotiations ended in a Mexican standoff, and the argument became a complete Mexican standoff. Greek gift. This is a gift that is perceived as beneficial but turns out to just cause trouble. For example, be careful of that. It may look generous, but this is a Greek gift. Or the promotion turned out to be a great gift because of all the stress. Russian roulette. This is doing something that is extremely dangerous or risky. For example, driving that fast is like Russian roulette, and investing all your money there feels like Russian roulette. Italian strike. This is a protest where employees follow rules so strictly that productivity slows down. For example, the project could not be completed on time because of the Italian strike, and productivity slowed down because of the Italian strike. This is essentially like striking but still working at the same time. Canadian tuxedo. This is an outfit made up entirely of denim. For example, the 90s loved the Canadian tuxedo look, and everyone wore Canadian tuxedo to the wedding. Swiss watch. This is something that is entirely precise and reliable. For example, the office runs like a Swiss watch, and his timing is like a Swiss watch. English rose. This is a woman that has delicate and classic beauty. For example, she looked like an English rose on her wedding day, and the magazine applauded her English rose appearance. German efficiency. This is used to describe something that is run with exceptional organization and productivity. For example, the event was handled with German efficiency, and their schedule runs like German efficiency. American dream. This is the belief that anyone can achieve success through hard work. For example, he moved abroad to chase the American dream, and home ownership is part of the American dream. Chinese puzzle. This is something that is very complicated or confusing. For example, the tax system feels like a Chinese puzzle, and the instructions were like a Chinese puzzle. British stiff upper lip. This is used to describe someone who handles a difficult situation very calmly and with no emotion. For example, he faced the crisis with a British stiff upper lip, and she handled her problem with a British stiff upper lip. Double Dutch. This is language or speech that is really difficult or impossible to understand. For example, the instructions sounded like Double Dutch to me, and scientific terminology can feel like Double Dutch. Pardon my French. This is a phrase that we use after swearing or using rude language. For example, that was a terrible idea, pardon my French, or pardon my French, but I don't want to do that. Of course, in this video, I'm not actually going to swear, but generally after using a swear word or really rude words, you can say pardon my French afterwards. Go Dutch. This is when you split the cost equally. It doesn't have to be between two people, but in general, splitting the expenses equally. For example, they decided to go Dutch on the holiday expenses, or we always go Dutch when eating out. When in Rome, do as Romans do. This means to adapt to the customs of the place you are visiting. For example, I tried the local cuisine. When in Rome, do as Romans do. Not for all the tea in China. This is not willing to do something under any circumstance. For example, she wasn't willing to quit her job for all the tea in China, and I wouldn't skydive for all the tea in China. And that is all the nationality idioms that we are going to be covering in today's video. Remember, idioms are not usually literal. They either have some type of historical or humorous background to them. So remember, context is important. When you use them, make sure there's relevancy. Some of these idioms and expressions are very harmless and common, but do keep in mind that in today's world, some of them could be considered a little bit insensitive. So just be conscious and aware of where and when you use them. Be cool, not a fool. Subscribe for more English tips and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future video. And if you would like to have one-on-one classes with me, you can scan the QR code on the screen or click the link down in the description. And I'll see you next time. Chinese puzzle. This is just